Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Local Pundit. I'm Josh Anthony. This is your Wrexham latest news and update show, the Breakfast Club, and a match preview with a very, very special guest on a Friday. Excited to have this young man on. I say young because I'm sure he's younger than me. And a handsome look. He's sitting in the background. You got Liam Randall coming in. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Great to see you again.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back to the show, my friend. How you been?
Yeah, I've been good, thanks. Yeah, it's been it's been a bit of a quiet week on Wrexham news other than the Tuesday night game. But I mean, that caused enough talking points to last everyone for the whole week, I think, after that defeat. So yeah, didn't enjoy that one too much. I didn't want to think about it for too long afterwards if I could help it.
That just filled up everyone's mental inbox to be like, oh man, this is just, so yeah, that was a rough one. Yes, everyone give the FID love for Liam. There he is, my friend. Awesome. Yes. And again, appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show. Last time we had it on was the transfer day special, which was fun.
Yeah.
But a lot to talk about. Yeah, and after that game, on Tuesday, which was, I would say, our worst performance. I mean, I don't want to dwell on it too much. I think we already kicked that can down the road too much on all the pods, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Great to see Liam, and good vibes for tomorrow. Well, we're going to try. I messaged Liam. The reason why it's a little bit of a match preview and a little bit of a kind of looking up. Your article today really sparked my interest because we were talking about this, and I'm going to bring it up and I'll bring it back down just for context about your article you had in the Mirror today. And by the way, fantastic writer. If you're not following him, obviously on FID, but he's a fantastic writer. Puts it out there, and I'm really a fan. So there you but this was in this morning's Mirror, and I wanted to get your take on it in a little bit more in more context, because this has been coming up. There's been rumors about Parkinson wanting to walk, about Palmer and Mullen with the kickoff today. Mullen was not on the plane apparently, but wanted to get a little bit more of a deeper dive as we go into what I think is the biggest match of the season, hands down.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been a bit of an unusual. There's been rumors rumbling, I guess, since pretty much the end of the January transfer window after Sam Smith and Jay Rodriguez came in. Now, it's no surprise, I don't think, to anyone that Paul Mullin and Ollie Palmer aren't particularly happy about being knocked down the pecking order, but I think it's more the way that they're not even in the matchday squad. I think if they're on the substitutes bench, perhaps you can understand that, but the fact that they're now down below the pecking order to the point where Mo Fowl was preferred on the bench against Reading took me I think it has taken all of us aback. So, like, 1 minute you're hot stuff, you've just carried the team to back-to-back promotions as a strike pairing, and then next thing, you're nowhere to be seen. So I think it's the manner of it, how it's been so total, then being removed from the squad. I mean, a lot of the rumours are unverified, but it's generally seems to be the consensus that they seem to have fallen out with Phil Parkinson. There's various different versions going around there, which I won't bother you with too much. Some involving one or both of them complaining to the owners, going behind Parky's back, which I imagine if it were true, it wouldn't go down particularly well. So yeah, it's been a strange one, really. And like I said, I think if it was just they were on the bench, people probably wouldn't bat an eyelid. But left out the squad, I think Mullin 7 of the last 8. He's not even been in the squad. That is a massive change.
Mm-hmm. Matt Al's not a big fan of J-Rod. He says that, yeah. No Mullen on the plane this afternoon, but it looks like Palmer is on there too. You mentioned there about the owners. Apparently Rob is going to be at the game tomorrow. And Parkinson, you probably know this probably better than I do. I assume his management skills are great, but going above the manager, I think is a different story if you're going to the owners. How would you, is that really something that maybe bleeding on the pitch now that we saw what happened in the Reading game? And I'm hoping it doesn't, but
I mean, body language tells us a lot of stories, doesn't it? And when Wrexham have been down, 1 or 2-0 in previous seasons, you always still had that sense that they could come back, with the amount of games where crazy score lines, but no matter how much they were losing by, a bit like, Dover game and things like that very early on in Parkinson's reign, you always felt like we had a chance. Whereas I don't know about you, but even 1-0 down against Reading, I just think, where's the goals going to come from here? Yeah. And not just that, the players don't necessarily convey that they look like they believe they're going to get back into it. I mean, I thought when Stephen Fletcher came on, he was trying to G everyone up, but not everyone was necessarily on the same wavelength as him. So just from an artificial looking from the outside inwards, I would say the body language just looks, as soon as we go 1 or 2-0 down, I'm not thinking necessarily the same as I was in previous seasons. Oh, we've still got a chance here.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you too, and it's funny. I just watched the trailer. I showed to my mother and father the trailer to the first season when Welcome to Wrexham came out. And the passion, not that they're not passionate, but it just feels like something's up. It's the pressure succumbing to Parkinson, bringing two new strikers and the winger in Longman. Has that messed up A, the locker room? It could be true, and B, the synergy on the pitch that they're not getting used to playing with each other.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think as fans, everyone wanted that. Everyone called for 2 strikers, absolutely. Everyone wanted another attacking option. I'd say more people probably asked for an attacking midfielder than another wing back, but I think Longman's got a good pedigree. But it's such a hard task, trying to keep an entire dressing room, locker room, whatever you want to call it, happy is just to keep it going for such a long period of time. I think he's done it really well, since 2001. But I do wonder, in any manager's time at a club, because I think it's the level of, the amount of leagues we've gone up as well. That's meant that we've had to bring in more players because naturally you need it to get to the next level. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe it's because we've accelerated so fast and the amount of changes are coming thick and fast as well. Maybe that's what makes it more difficult to try and keep a harmonized dressing room, because you bring in new faces, and Parkinson's good at looking into their background and looking into their character. But, different personalities in any workplace, you're always going to get people who don't get along necessarily, perhaps, and maybe that's what's happened here.
Yeah, and I'm hoping but your title's great. I hope that's sad news if it does happen. I think you did either way, and that's why the article I think is so poignant, because we're getting into this crucial time. And yes, not everyone needs to get along, but we at least need to gel. And it's maybe bleeding through. And I hope that's not the case, especially going into tomorrow. We'll talk about tomorrow's game too. Kelly David says, "Thanks for bringing Liam on, the local pundit Josh." No, thank you for that super chat. Liam's a great guy, does great work, and I'm a huge fan of his writing and the work that they do, man. So thank you very much. And also too, there you go. FID is awesome. Great to see you, Liam. Nice stuff. Yeah. There you go. Liam, you got some fans, bro.
Yeah.
Moving on that too, going back to the bust up rumors, and calling out Ryan Reynolds. Is that Palmer's dad doing that, or is that
headlines are sometimes a bit poetic license. I mean, I think who Ollie Palmer's dad was calling out specifically was Phil Parkinson, and also I think he also used the initials of Parkin as well. So it was the entire management team. So I'd heard something I think it was in the Mould Road stand. Someone I speak to regularly had mentioned this thing of Palmer's dad having had words with Phil Parkinson actually in private, away from social media, quite some weeks back. And I listen to people. I treat some of it with a pinch of salt. But then when you see it on his social media and he's saying, basically lose your pride and play my son. I mean, I got to be honest. If it was my dad doing that in my workplace, I'd be a bit embarrassed. But it does tell a story about not all being particularly well behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tricky one because, like I say, we demand better players. Like we've gone from everyone saying they were happy with mid-table this season to suddenly everyone wants to go to the Championship and they want it now. Mm-hmm. And trying to balance those demands is quite difficult. I almost feel like I look back. So you've got where Wrexham have come from, maybe here, where expectations and the owner's ambitions are, maybe here, mm-hmm. and perhaps where the current team is and the infrastructure, etc., is not in the middle. I'd say it's probably closer to to the Championship of where we want to be here. But is there a distance still between expectation and ambition and what we actually have there?
Mm-hmm. I think we're fighting on so many fronts that we're doing a show later on too about are we moving at Wrexham speed, to try to do a deeper dive on that too, kind of like just like a little bit of deeper dive. Are we going too fast? For me, I understand it. I mean, we have talked about are we the heel now? In wrestling terms, are people? I don't know. It's very, very interesting. But my thought is, I believe in Parkinson. I believe that he's going to get it done. I just don't know how he's going to get it done. And I think tomorrow, everyone waits for us to click. Is tomorrow going to be the game? How is he going to solve this? Because it's on his shoulders to solve. I think the owners can't do anything at this point. I think they've given him everything, but I think it's on him to solve, and the players.
Yeah, I think the problem is now that you've actually got here, we're in with a good chance, and I think if you get that chance, you absolutely have to take it. I mean, one thing I quite admire is the owner's ambition, because I'll be honest, I don't know if it's a British mentality, I don't know if it's a Wrexham mentality, but you're always thinking about the pitfalls, always thinking what could go wrong. And what I like about Rob and Ryan is they see, what I'd call the art of the possible. Like, why can't Wrexham get to the Premier League? Why can't Wrexham get into the Championship? And that's refreshing. Yeah. That's totally different to, and also I'm quite sort of cynical in my general life, but when it comes to sports, I'm a bit more of a dreamer. It's escapism, isn't it? You want your team to be fighting at the highest level possible.
Correct.
So yeah, it's just, I think it is up to Parkinson, because I think now he's got us here, he has got a great chance. And my biggest, not concern, but observation is that we went from playing, I don't think we've always been a bad side to watch. I think, National League days, I think League Two days, there was some sort of awkward away performances, but especially at home, we were always quite entertaining. We played different types of football. It wasn't just lump it up to the strikers. We scored some great team goals, but we just seem to have become really reserved now that we're in the upper reaches of League One. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a frightened style of play, but it's almost, you don't want teams to score against you, so you keep it so tight that's really restricting us in attack. And I'd just like to see a bit more freedom moving forwards, because it has been so many occasions it's just, lump the ball up. And I feel for the strikers, whether it's Sam Smith and Jay Rodriguez, Paul Mullin, Jack Marriott, Ollie Palmer, whoever it is, I feel for them, because that's quite a hard way to score goals for them, unless you're really good at holding the ball up. And even still, you've still got a lot to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's been quite a thankless task for the strikers over the past few months, really.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you too. And everyone, like anybody, the strikers are, they're going to get the most. They're going to get the most praise, and they're going to get the most criticism too. But also, you need to have service. You know what I mean? Like the keeper too. AO, I think, has come back to his. He's coming back to his best. I was looking at Kelly Davison had a question there earlier. She said, and this is on our Discord, just want to put this out to you. Said, I'm disappointed that Ollie Palmer's farmers criticized Wrexham's owners, management, urging them to swallow the pride and reintegrate Palmer and Mullen into the starting lineup. How did they go over with the team and management? I think we sort of covered that a little bit too. It feels like it would have been the opposite effect of Mr. Palmer. He was going at. So does it have that wrong? Do you think it's had the opposite effect? I think that kind of goes into what we were just talking about right a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, it never goes down well. I mean, before the takeover and the Dean Keats, there was a player going probably just immediately before Tyler French, and his mum used to have a go at Dean Keats on the Facebook fans group, and it always makes me wince a bit, because I just think, yeah, if that was my family in my workplace, I don't want them anywhere near involved. It's just not the done thing. So I think it's always going to have the opposite effect. I can't think of any scenario where someone's family member goes, "Oh, you're not playing my son," and then Phil Parkinson, a man with however many games, well, over 1,000 games in management, is suddenly going to go, yeah, no, now you mention it, all my expertise is out the window. Yeah, I'll put them in. I think the only thing is, I mean, if the new strikers had scored, say, I think I looked at it and they've collectively had something like 17 games between them now. 9 for Smith and 8 for Rodriguez. If they had more than a haul of 2 goals, we're not having this conversation. If they had an instant impact and it was, I don't know, let's say for the sake of argument, 8 goals or something like that between them, you can't particularly argue with that. But the fact that it's only 2 and 2 for Smith and none for Rodriguez is just really difficult to you can't look at that and say, well, you can't make a case for Palmer because they're not scoring goals. So
yeah, it seems to be our problem this year. The last time I think we scored 3 goals was, I don't know, a few months ago, but we just don't. You go to the matches, I'm sure you watch the games, you're like, I just want one to be easy, and it's not going to get easy. You know what I mean? Tomorrow's going to be even harder too. But collectively, I think Parkinson has some decisions he needs to make, whether harsh ones. He's already done it up front. I think in the midfield, not to harp on the last game, having Mac in the middle was like, I have no idea what he was doing. For me, I was like shocked. Like that was just a bad decision. and then going and not scoring any goals. Moving on to tomorrow's match against Wycombe. What say you? What do you think he's going to do? Unchanged 11 tomorrow? Oh God!
I can't imagine. I'd be surprised if he does. I mean, I think a lot will depend on stuff like if he thinks Elliot Lee's fit enough to start. Because, in my own personal opinion, I know he's not necessarily had the best season this season, but he's still a difference maker. Like, especially with Andy Cannon being out for so long, you've got to have a midfielder who's got a bit of attacking spark about them. Because I think while the likes of Dobson, etc., are very solid, defensive midfielders, and Rathbone's good sort of box-to-box midfielder, Elliot Lee was always at his best when he's just on the edge of the box and, getting teammates involved and things like that. And I still think he can do that. It's just that it's been a very, particularly since his crash, it's been a bit of a stop-start sort of time for him. Like you, I can't see that McLean thing in midfield being repeated again. I think you put him back in at left wing back, and as much as I want to see Revan do well, it was a difficult one on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean they were getting each other's way, arguing a little bit here and there. It just didn't work. Rev's, and also by the way, Rev's been coming along really good. Really, really good. And he, we think he might have a knock. I don't know if you have an update on any of the injuries between him and Barney. That's the other thing I was worried about too, and Dobson. And on that note, just a two-parter there. People have been calling for Ashfield to get into that middle of the park. I mean, tomorrow's the biggest game, I think, in the season. Is that too soon for the youngster?
I think it's one of those things with youngsters. You just have to make the call. Either they're ready or they're not. It's just this sort of halfway house where we see glimpses of him in the trophy, for example, and he plays really well. And then there's a big clamour for him to play, and then you don't see him again for however long. You just think, how else are you going to develop a player? You've got to give him a shot, even if it's off the bench. You've got to give him a shot to actually prove himself, because I think there's been so many youngsters who are just almost there. Like Bickerstaff came in the start of League Two, and you were like, oh, I can see something there. But then it's all been downhill for him, unfortunately, since then. So you either chuck them in at the deep end and see if they float, or you just don't bother at all. So I think it's one of those where people are willing to try something because what's going on at the minute is not quite working for us. So I certainly wouldn't be against it. I mean, a lot on the injury front. I mean, most of them he seems to be suggesting that minor injuries. So fingers crossed on that front that's the case. I wouldn't mind seeing Dobson brought back into the starting lineup either. Although the person I'm struggling with at the moment is Matty James's place in the starting lineup. Are you a fan or no?
Are you a fan of Matty James or not? I'm like, is he a steady 7 all the time, or am I missing? Because he's not going to do anything fancy. Let's start right there. But what do you think?
I get that. I know he's got quality in him, because he's been up there at the top level and done it. But the one thing that annoys me about his play is he comes back to receive the ball from a defender. The ball comes to him in midfield, and then he passes it straight back to Max or whoever it is in defence. And I think as a defender, you must be frustrated by that, because while our defenders can play out from the back, if a midfielder's there, you'd rather they take it on and move it up the pitch, whereas it just too often seems to come back at them and we have to start again. So I'm not sold on him completely, and I wouldn't mind, just Dobson sitting in that role on his own rather than have two very sort of defensive-minded midfielders in the same lineup.
It's like, what's he going to do tomorrow? I'd love to see Evans in there too, and I do see that when O'Connell gives it off to Matty, and then he goes right back to Max, or it goes, or then I think O'Connell gets frustrated and he pushes the ball forward, tries to do like a 20-yard pass, which happened 2 games ago, I think, and almost put one of the players in. What was that game? Was it the Bolton game? I think it was. Yeah. And that guy can't shoot. So you can see that. And Wrexham AFC Brazil says Ashfield has shown something. Looks like a mature player. I believe he will have his match very soon. Well, I mean, maybe not. I mean, I don't know if he'll risk it. What do you expect tomorrow? How Parkinson will set up? Do you think he's going to make changes up top? I think you're probably right on the Maka going back into left wing back. Think he'll make changes up top, and what can we expect from the Wycombe team? We have a few injuries, by the way, and Kone is firing again. Scary.
Yeah, annoyingly, he's come back into form. Just got back from that injury at just the wrong
Just
time.
the right time.
I listened to this Welsh BBC Welsh Feast of Football podcast, and annoyingly, they talk about Wrexham a lot, but they've also got Wycombe coach Sam Vokes, who's a former Wales international, on there. So he's always sounding quite smug, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he's back and he's scoring again." I'm just like, "Oh, for Christ's sake!" I did not want to hear that just on the eve of this game. And people, for me, Wycombe, like people keep saying they're going to drop off, and they have picked up a few draws here and there lately. But just when do you give them credit and say actually they've been superb this season? Yeah, really solid as well. Even though they've gone through player changes, managerial changes, to keep that momentum is actually really difficult. So I think it is I don't want to say a worry. I mean, I always back Wrexham, wherever we go, but it's such a big game, and I don't think we can just get away with a draw. I really want to see us a bit like the Halifax game. After we lost to Halifax in the National League title winning season, we came out of the blocks and beat Notts County 3-2 at home. A really brave performance, a really attacking performance. So I want to see that. I mean, I don't know if I want to see Jay Rodriguez necessarily on the pitch. I don't dislike the guy. Got nothing against him whatsoever, but it just doesn't seem to be working. And he was almost playing in behind Smith. They were so far apart against Reading. You want to see your two strikers interchanging, close together. There's got to be a combination out there that's going to be more effective than it is at the moment. I mean, it couldn't not, could it?
It couldn't get any worse. I mean, I'm say worse, but it couldn't get any. They couldn't not score not score goals as it is. They're not scoring goals.
Yeah.
Smitty had said that he played in a single, like he's never played in a two. So that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Would you start at Fletch? Would you go with a Mo Fall? I mean, he did hint at the other day, Mo earned his spot on the bench. Would you go with one of those guys? I don't like Fletch as a starter personally. I think he's a great impact player.
No.
Yeah.
But I think Mo's an interesting one because he never seems to get the chance to shine in long periods. He came along with how many minutes left against Reading, and you expect him to affect a change. He's not going to, is he? Because you've got no time to. So I think if you are going to try and get him into the team, you have to give him a start. And I think he does offer something different because he's quite tall, and you expect to see that number 9 kind of striker. But the goal he scored against, I think it's Port Vale in the trophy, he was quite fast the way he arrived into the box, sort of a poacher's finish. So it does mix it up a bit as well. It's not like you've got too many similar strikers there. I think Mo Fall is something a bit different, and I think he has got something to his game, but I just don't know how he's going to show it if he's not starting games. Yeah.
I agree. He reminds me a lot of Berbatov. I know people don't know who that is, particularly just because they probably didn't watch Berbatov too. But he reminds me of Berbatov. He pops up in good spots. He's good with his feet. He looks like he's not working hard, but he has good passes. He hold up plays okay. Reminds me of that a little bit too. I agree with you on the J-Rod stuff. I thought they were going to click. But I would make a different change. I don't know what that is. I don't think it's going to be Mullen. Maybe play J-Rod. Play if Elliot Lee is healthy, play him right behind him in the 1-1 and have Smitty up top by himself. Longwood's sure in though. He's got to start, right? He's got to start.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, especially if Barney's been carrying an injury. I think maybe that's where you see him start. When he came on against Reading, we did get more balls into the box, albeit not successfully. But I think it was just too late. And again, we're trying to make changes so late on in a game of football. I just wish sometimes the substitutions would come earlier. There were things that weren't working against Reading, a bit like the Revan situation, where you just thought we can all see this isn't being effective, so make the change at halftime rather than wait 10-15 minutes to affect it.
I think it's a classic case of he got caught out with his tactics and with penalty, whether it was a penalty or not. We got caught out, and you're right. He should have. What do I know? Armchairing it now. Yeah, we got caught out, and then boom, right behind it, they had that second goal there too. Question here: is Rathbone injured? Do we know? I know he maybe had a bit of a knock. Is he injured?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rathbone's okay from what I've seen. So, which is again good news for us because he has been really influential for us. I think there was one period around was it November or December? I think it was probably more December, where he just carried us through some of those games,
So
like individual goals and things like that. He's more than just a hard worker as well. He's got a bit more to his attacking side now. I don't think he had a great many goals previously to his game, but since he's come to Wrexham, he seems to have added that, and I think that's been really useful as well, because especially when your strikers aren't scoring, you need someone to be popping up. It can't just be Max popping up for corners and free kicks and stuff. As great as that is, that you've got a defender doing that, you need other people doing it as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'll be cognizant of time. I know you got to jump in 2 minutes, but just want to get your final take, thoughts on the game tomorrow. Overall, how we go about, are we going to get the W? And I'll leave this one on you. If we lose, do you think the rumors are true that Parkinson would block?
I've had this mentioned to me today about Parkinson, so I'll just start with that. And it would surprise me if he walked. He doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to walk out on a job. He's been there and done it, played at clubs like Sunderland, and I think he was fired rather than walked there. So I think it would be a very surprising move if he did that. But I think this thing's crept in of, you just wonder what's next in terms of the managerial situation. In that, I could see Parkinson getting us into the Championship potentially, but the big question mark is what happens then when we get there, because playing like we have, the Reading performance, you could see us coming straight back down potentially. So it's not that I think he'll walk necessarily, but I think it will raise questions in people's minds of, if we lose that and we go on and sort of limp into the playoffs, it raises doubts then in people's mind about his long-term future. It's sort of head versus heart. My heart says Wrexham bounce back like they did against Notts County and they get the win and go on to automatics. But my head just looks at these performances and says, we've really got to improve them, because otherwise it will be a case of playoffs. And would you fancy us necessarily?
No. Yeah. My heart can't take it. I can't take it. I won't be able to take it.
It's not all cliche. It is a lottery, isn't it? And plus it goes down to things like form. You could get a team who finishes a few places lower than you, but if they go into the playoffs in red hot form, then you're toast, basically. Yeah. I'm trying to stay optimistic. Like I say, I'm trying to be glass half full, and I really want that for us. And I think Phil Parkinson is a man who deserves time as well. 60% win rate, 2 promotions. In terms of Wrexham's, I don't want to look backwards too much, but in terms of Wrexham's history, that's fairly unprecedented. So he definitely deserves time for me. I hope he doesn't walk. I hope he's the guy that goes on to do it. But like I say, I just think a couple of things creeping in which just make you start to question him.
I agree with you, Joe. Hopefully that the loss on Tuesday is the best thing to happen to us. We go off, we win tomorrow, 17-0. I doubt it will happen, but something like that. Come on, let's go. Well, if you're going to the match, have fun, enjoy yourself. I really appreciate, like I said, I know you got a half hour. Really appreciate you coming on. Always welcome. And you guys keep up the great work. And the writing is awesome too, man. So congrats to you, man. Long may it continue.
Always happy to come on. Love your stuff. So keep it going, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man. All right. We will talk soon. Liam Randall from FID, and go give him a follow as well. Talk soon, my friend.
Bye.
All right. What a great guest. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a good dude. We had 30 minutes. I got him out in 30 minutes. Patty says, cheers, Liam. Great stuff. Yes. Thank you, Patty. Yes. And remember, Patty's going to be doing a show later. I'll just plug that real quick. There's going to be a members only show in about 2 hours, I think. 2.5 hours. No. Yeah, 2.5 hours. They're going to be doing deep dive. It's called, I don't even know what we call it. What did I call it? Moving at the speed. At the speed of Wrexham, a deep dive. It's going to be Patty and Welsh Decky doing that for everybody. So go enjoy that. They're going to sit, kick their feet up, and have a good chat today too. Awesome. So go check that out as well. It's going to be a members only, but we'll drop on Sunday to everybody too. I said this too. You got to do it today because the biggest match is tomorrow. And whatever happens on Sunday, you're going to be talking against yourself when we do our Sunday session stuff. Awesome. But there you go. Thanks, Liam. Nice surprise, Josh. Thank you, Paul Kelly. And Patty's always here. What are you talking about? He doesn't go away. And he's right here. John Merrill says, I think the squad strength is more of an issue for the championship rather than the manager meeting. Yeah, if we go up, there'll be a massive turnover for sure. for sure. So, but no, that was a great chat, Liam, coming on. That's awesome. As far as tomorrow goes, I'm just looking at some of the stuff that was online today too. It is a news show, but we had a very special guest there too. Can we go back to winning ways tomorrow? Let's break this down. Can we? Let's not. I'm not gonna bullshit anybody. Can we go back to winning ways? Yes. If we play like we did on Tuesday, absolutely, we're gonna get rinsed. We will get rinsed. So I'm hoping for a reaction. This is a Wrexham reaction game. Full stop, top to bottom. Rob has flown in, from what I hear, McElhoney, and so has I think his missus is there too. But will that help out? Will that help out if they're in the stands? Maybe just mental state. I don't want to rely on those things because these are professional football players. They're a professional manager who knows what he's doing, knows how to get a win, knows how to get the best out of players. And I'm hoping the shackles come off and we go full tilt tomorrow. We go win this game. That said, being away from home, they had sold out, I think, 9,000. So it's going to be a sellout tomorrow. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be crazy. But we need big players to step up. I don't give a shit who it is. But the big boys need to step up tomorrow, and we got to step up to the plate and say, okay, who's going to take the responsibility tomorrow and go for the W? Patty thinks, of course, we can. I agree. We can too. We can do this. It's a matter, be brave. Can we be brave enough? Are we allowing ourselves to be great? Tomorrow's the start. There's 10 games left to go. 30 points are available. And I said this yesterday, speaking with the guys. It is the best game to have after getting our ass kicked by Reading because we're going against a team who have been steady right ahead of us. We've been trying to chase down. And yes, we're not going to win every football game, but this is the best game to say, oh, you know what? We're going to take it. We're going to go in. We're going to take that second place because, yes, I know that John is here. The champ is here. I know that Birmingham City are going to win. They're going to be the champions. The champions elect at this point. So who are we going to be? Are we going to be the team that's going to take second place? Because now it's not going to be given to us. I've always said we needed a little bit of help. So why don't we help ourselves tomorrow, bounce back, and go have an absolutely incredible performance that we could be very proud of? Or we go and win the game 1-0, comes off someone's backside and goes in the back of the net. I don't care. I'd rather it be the first option, but we'll see. My thoughts on the lineup tomorrow will be AO in goal. I think that's who he's going to go. AO in goal. I expect a few changes here and there. I don't know about the injuries, so I'm going to go with the fact that the injuries, that the injured players or the knocks are okay. AO is going to be in goal. There's an article right here which I want to talk about. He said he's back to his best. Briefly, he said, I'm feeling good about myself coming back in and meeting AO. And he has. He's done very, very well. I'm very, very proud of him. It's funny, as I say this, it says the Wycombe game does not define the season. That is an article that is in here as I was doing the lab. Where is it? This one. The Wycombe game will not define the season. I disagree with you. I totally disagree with you. But I'll look at that in a second. Okay, back to what I was saying. I think AO is going to be in goal. I think Macca is going to be back at left wing back. I think Ravon, I don't think he had his best game, which is fine. The other side of things, I think he's going to go have Stash, O'Connell, and Max steady in the back there. On the right, he's going to go with Ryan Longman. In the middle of the park, I think he's going to go Matty James, Rathbone if he's fit, and probably start Elliott Lee. And up top, I think he's going to go with, I think he might go Smitty and either Mo or Fletcher. I don't think it should be Fletcher, but I think he's going to make a change there and maybe J-Rod coming in there. That's what I think. I also wouldn't be surprised maybe if Evans is in there. On the bench, he'll probably go similar to what he had left last time, unless JM's fit. I don't know what's going on there, but that sort of combination. I think there'll be one or two changes for tomorrow. If it's an unchanged 11, my head would literally explode. But I think Barney's going to sit down. I think Mack will come back in the left wing back. I think those are going to be the two major changes on the defense. And up top, I think he's going to make one change. I could be completely wrong, and I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to be wrong. I don't care. It's before the game. But I think we're going to go win the game as well. I think we're going to go win the game too. I think this is going to be the bounce back game. I think we're going to be screaming, we're going to be screaming in extra time tomorrow about it. And I'm going to be happy about it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Also, we could lay an egg, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say we could lay an egg. I'm not going to go down that route. I'm going to be optimistic. Because we were so crap on Tuesday. We were so crap on Tuesday that basically we can't get any worse than that. And if there is all this commentary going on behind the back with Parkinson and JM, and the Mullen and the Palmer stuff going on. I want Parkinson to deal with it. I want the leaders in the dressing room to just pull the plug on all of it and say, F that. That's not what we're here for. We're going to go win football games because we have the unbelievable opportunity. That's what I think. It's also tough to beat a team two games in a row, basically back to home and away. That's going to be very difficult. Although it was the first game of the season, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be the hardest game of the season to this point, in my opinion. It was going to be the hardest week. Then we have Stockport, so we'll talk about Stockport too. But it's going to be a difficult game. Expect a lively crowd. And can we respond to it? Can we stand up to it? Yes, we can. We've done it before. I'm excited about it. I'm very, very excited about it. Kelly Davidson says the boys can get it done. Believe. Yes, believe. And on that note, by the way, believe season 4, Ted Lasso is going to be back. So there you go. Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's the key, Kelly Davidson. Believe. Yep. Get your signs out. Joe Swift says 1-1 draw, and both managers will be okay with that. You're probably right. I won't be okay with it. I want to go and win that game. Triangles. Work forward on the wings and get those crosses in. Simple game. Laugh out loud. And H2Z's here. I hope it's a bit bold. I know it's a bit bold, but I aim for the start to reach for the stars and moon, win all 10 games. Let's go. Why not? There you go. Patty says triangles. He's going to get that tattoo. And Shelly B says going out a limb and calling Smith Palmer duo. Whoa! I don't know if Palmer's on the plane. He might be. I don't know. I was getting pictures of the plane. Of course I was. We're trying to see. Here you go. Look. Pictures of the plane. You think I'm lying? Pictures of the plane. I'll thank him flat out. Matt Al, there you go. Matt Al getting pictures of the plane. By the way, I'm not getting on a prop plane like that. Screw that. Picture of the plane. Palmer was on the plane. Mullen not spotted boarding. There you go. Those are the two things here. Let me just bring this up before I get everyone out of here. Let me just look at something real quick. So Madison Felt Parks believes the game at promotion rivals Wycombe will not be a season defining. Why? Why? I think he's trying to take the pressure off. I think he's trying to take, in my opinion, trying to take the pressure off. I don't agree with this, but let's see what he says here. There are some quotes, and this is on the BBC. I think it's also on the Leader too. Parkinson says, "I don't look at the season defining because after Saturday there will still be 9 games left on a lot of football to play." Technically, he's right. And that's what he should be saying publicly. Behind the closed doors, cameras off, take the mic off my shirt because I don't want to have the lav on. I'm getting in there like, go and win the goddamn game. But publicly, I like what he's doing here. I don't agree with it, but behind the scenes, he's going to we got to win it. We got to win this match. But obviously, it's an important one. We can't hide away from that. No, do not shy away. Don't alligator arm this game tomorrow. Go after them. Get on the front foot because they're going to come for us. Parkinson goes on to say, it was a great challenge for us going down there, and we know what's at stake, and we need to concentrate on what we need to do, okay? They've had a good season, so have we. It's going to be very, very close, very, very close. Obviously, we missed a chance to go up on them after getting our asses kicked by Reading, and actually it was an ass-kicking. Parkinson went on to say, when you lose, it's obviously disappointing. You can't hide away from that, but it's about picking yourselves up and analyzing what we can do better. I'll tell you what we can do better every goddamn aspect of the game tomorrow. Everything. Except for the fans. The fans were awesome. You could hear them singing. The lads recovered well. I feel the lads are very focused about what we've got to do. Parkinson said because of the injury concerns, a few players had yet to decide on the team who he's going to start. So there are some injury concerns. So we'll keep an eye on that. And that's really good. Limited insight there, but really good to possibly the choice of what's going to happen to the lineup. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised tomorrow for anything tomorrow in this lineup. Do not be surprised. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go down. I'm pumped for it. We will be live tomorrow. Game day build up tomorrow. Remember that? Game day build up an hour before. Actually, 50 minutes before. And then right into the live watch along with myself. Then Wrexham time, and then Wrexham reaction for tomorrow. It's going to be a big game. Patty, he said it's only 3 points. I mean, we're yes and no. That's true. But it's not season defining, but we should go on and make it something important. If it's not important, I hope we go out and we crush it. Triangles, yes. One touch football. PC Scuba says, we got to get up and stay up. If we get up and win or draw, then drop emotionally. We won't be ready for the Stockport game and just lose and then and then infirm child to be 2 points behind you. Yes. Aaron says it's not season defining. Well, I mean, that's why you guys have your own take. Okay. Too much left to play. Works both ways too. We could win tomorrow, still miss out on promotion. On the flip side, they could do the same. God, you guys are so negative. Golly. We're going to win tomorrow, and it is season defining. There you go. How's that? Have your own take on your own shows, my friends. All right, God. And they will. Remember, there is going to be the show later on today, and we'll be doing all the shows tomorrow. Awesome. Psychology, it's more important than just 3 points. There you go. Right there. Not season defining, but it's very important. And everyone has a good take on it, too. Also, the debate yesterday between Ken and Patty. I mean, Ken just got shot down by Patty. Patty was like, dude, Ken had no arguments back. Patty shut him down. Done. So did Aaron. Over. You can't see me. All right. Please tune in live later for the members only, and excited for tomorrow. Let's go get those 3 points tomorrow. Let's go have it be a season defining game, even if it's not technically a season defining game. Thank you, Liam, for coming on again. Go follow him on FID and follow his writing. A good one. I'm really pumped for tomorrow, as you can tell. Remember, it's an hour later for us in the U.S. So we get ready for that. I'm pumped about that. We're here to wind you up. Of course you are. That's great. Dad of the year right there. Dad of the year. Okay. Thank you all for coming in. And on that bombshell, I will see you all soon.